Welcome to In the News with Double O Des. I'm Des Bernardo, giving you my perspective on news from South Africa and the rest of the world.
In the news this morning, I want to cover an article with you with regards to protest action, with regards to the tobacco ban that happened in Cape Town. I know all of you are waiting for the results from the High Court, and I'm on the lookout. I've got my pulse on the ground, trying to get a feel for what might be happening. But I do expect the judgment later this afternoon. And if that judgment happens this afternoon, then hopefully it'll go in your favor. The problem is if it carries on beyond that time, it means that some form of negotiations are going on behind the scenes, and we won't be aware of these negotiations. Now that could happen between both parties, government and the Fair Trade Tobacco Association, that actually want the tobacco ban to be lifted. So at this stage it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. Like I said, the court case was a bit more complicated than I had hoped for, because the government decided to go the constitutional route and actually fight for the minister's rights under the constitution to make decisions for us, even on short notice, to save our lives, and actually take far-reaching action in that process. So this is basically what the judges need to decide. So it's not become a scientific case, in which case the state would lose hands down. Now, in this article, and this article is in EWN, it says that Cape Town smokers reiterate call for government to lift ban on tobacco. And as usual, I'll put the link in the description for the video below, so you can go and look at it there. And there's pictures of people protesting outside of Parliament with South African flags and placards. And it says that under level 3 lockdown, tobacco companies could export, but local sales were still off limits. Now this is obviously a serious problem for most people in the country. Now on the 13th of June, smokers gathered outside Parliament and protested against the ban of cigarettes. You can see the picture in the article. And this happened on Saturday. And they were standing outside the gates of Parliament. So someone that has actually taken action, gone out, they're wearing their masks. But almost 2 weeks ago, they were at the same spot calling for exactly the same thing, for the ban on tobacco to be lifted. Because I mean, a lot of my friends have contacted me and said that they've had serious medical consequences because of the lack of smoking and not having necessarily the proper medication to help or treat them. So the placards that were held said the tobacco ban must fall and enough is enough, and various things like that. There's also a link to Twitter, and it says keep the grant, unban tobacco. So they said the government was making them criminals partaking in an illicit cigarette trade by denying them the right to smoke tobacco products. But this was not a usual protest. People were asked to bring along non-perishable food such as soup mix, canned food or long-life milk equivalent to the price of a packet of cigarettes. This would be donated to an organization in Strandfontein that feeds needy families during the lockdown. So they actually wanted to make this an event where they would donate money towards people in need, people that needed food. So the protest was also supposed to draw attention to their action in trying to help those that are needy. Pamela Walensky from Goodwood said the ban made no sense and she was forced to buy a packet of cigarettes on the black market at 4 times the amount it usually costs. And this is obviously a problem, and this was a part of the argument in court, that currently most people are still buying cigarettes just at an exorbitant price, and it's made the black market flourish. So at the end of the day, cigarettes were still available, which means that the ban doesn't help at all. It has no legitimate meaning when the state actually argued the contrary. Now we will have to wait and see exactly what the judges decide. The Fair Trade Independent Tobacco Association took government to court and sought a declaration that the ban was unlawful. The matter was heard at the Pretoria High Court this week and judgment was reserved. Now judgment being reserved means that the judgment could actually take up to 3 months. Now this is completely pointless because this is an urgent action. So if judgment is not given today, I will be extremely surprised. And if that is the case, then the Fair Trade Independent Tobacco Association They must be in negotiations with government because, as I've said before, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, she has actually asked that the court does not declare the ban illegal, that the court gives them the right to change the regulations. Now, what that would mean, I have no idea. Who knows what they have up their sleeve, but I'm sure they have a plan B ready if the court decides to give them a chance to change the regulations. Now, I believe that this will definitely happen, okay? So the worst case is the court will say that government has a certain amount of time to change the regulations instead of just banning their decision to ban tobacco. In other words, declaring their regulations illegal and saying that it's unconstitutional. But that is what I believe should happen. I do believe that freedom of choice is crucial and that the state's entire argument in court is completely flawed, because what they have said is that they care for people's health. Now, I can prove in tons of videos how they don't care for people's health, including their own health. So I don't understand the reasoning behind this. I'm certain that it comes from somewhere else, that this is being pushed, that this is an agenda. And I want you to understand one thing, that Cyril Ramaphosa is 100% in cahoots with Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. They are singing the same song. They were both the head of the African Union, and this means that they are fully in control of New World Order ideology, which, as I've said before, wants to get rid completely of cigarettes and alcohol. I will cover this court case with you as soon as I hear anything, and I will explain what the judgment means when it is handed down. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. Please, if you haven't yet, subscribe, click the bell icon to get notifications. Thank you for your thousands of comments and your support. We are almost at 10,000 subscribers. Please invite your friends to join this channel. As we grow, I will be able to expand and go into a weekly routine, which I will discuss with you later. And then I will be able to add value to your lives. Please do your own research on everything I speak of. I don't want you to believe me. I do my own independent research and I have my own life experiences. Do research. Go to other channels that try to explain things. Just remember, there's a lot of fake news out there that does not help our fight against New World Order ideology. It is counter strategy that New World Order agencies use to discredit the truth that people like myself put out there into the world. Thank you very much.